Hey everybody, welcome back to Joe on Film. Today we're in Atlanta, Georgia, going to the Days of the Dead convention. So join us if you dare. The original dolls from Sita Chucky, Hello Chucky, and Chucky in Child's Play 2. Dolphin Chucky. These are so cool. Oh, cool.
These are all screen views from movies.
That's really neat.
I would recommend
Love
this.
that.
Why did you see Leslie Burn? Yeah, I was like,
Love that effect though.
Oh, yeah.
Always watching you. Subscribe. Awesome, thank you.
Ah, there you go. You got that.
Yeah, these are really cool. Good me on Monday morning. We have to go to the Q&A. Grimm Lime said Q&A, so we had to make it.
Aha. Hello, everybody. These are always so strange and so weird, so thank you for coming by.
Oh, thank you
We got
for
some
being
stories
here
for
with
you
us.
tonight.
I don't know what to do with these. Being on a stage is always a little awkward. We had talked with most of you guys already today that being up on a stage is a little strange, but I love being like personal and one-on-one with everybody. So I don't know what to.
Well, just pretend you're talking to me and you have to hold something while you do it.
Doesn't that?
This is my show face.
Awesome. So last time we spoke was in Chicago, and you've had some pretty interesting adventures since then. I've been watching your videos and loving them. You guys also did a video that I also really loved, and that was Resurrection Mary when you were in Chicago. What's wrong?
Nothing. Nothing. No. Go ahead.
I've always loved that legend. You know, so I was very excited, of course, when I saw that you were doing that one, because as much as people know about it, not a lot of people feature it that I've seen.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's a big local legend.
I know, yeah.
We had stopped into the bar, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I love you." And we spent time with the bar owner that's right across from the cemetery. I don't recall his name, but he was so happy to talk about it because it is such like everybody knows the tale.
Exactly. Yep. And I was really slightly annoyed that my friend Charlie was in a movie based on it, right? Very loosely based on it. And it was so filmed in California, and I'm like, that is so not even close to being Illinois. And I was like, well, at least it's kind of getting legend out there, you know?
Yeah.
For people who don't live here.
Right.
Right, or there. I live in Chicago, so I forget where I'm at. So what can you tell us, if anything, about anything you might have coming up in the pipes?
Oh.
Only what you're allowed to. Well, let me phrase it like this. You mentioned in Chicago, so it's not a secret, that you were planning a UK trip at some point in 2023.
That is this year, isn't it?
What?
That is this year, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
So hopefully that still happens. And my follow-up to that is, will we be getting an American Werewolf in London feature on that trip?
Oh. Yes.
I never know what he wants to share and what he doesn't, so I'm always like, I looked at him.
It's like, bless you.
Bless you.
So it has been confirmed, it has been announced since then that we are going to Canada.
Awesome.
So we're going to be in Canada for like 2 weeks in the beginning of September. And on social, I like to be like secretive and cryptic and stuff. It's fun for me.
You don't have to give dates, but...
But we are planning something in the UK, and there's a big announcement that has not been announced yet. And I talked to the people today, and we're still trying to figure out all that stuff that happens. And we did talk about American Werewolf in London. So some big things are being planned coming down the pipes. There are people out there that have done videos on the things that we've done. People have done videos on American Werewolf in London, and every day in my head, something plays over and over and over again. When we announced that we were moving out to California, everybody was like, why on earth are you gonna do that? Every video that you could do out there has been done before. So it's a personal goal of mine to just go, well, what can we do to make it extra special to prove everybody wrong? So we got big stuff planned for American Werewolf in London that has never been done before.
I would like to comment though, that because this is something that we're very proud of, that we've created this big community and family, we like to say the Grimm Life family, that just because we filmed it or somebody before us has filmed it does not mean that you can't go out and film it yourself, because there is no limitation to how much coverage a topic can get. Don't let somebody convince you that it's not worth covering or that you shouldn't cover it because somebody else has already done it, because you haven't done it and you will bring something new to that.
And we're all fans. Even if you're not visiting it to film anything, go explore. The
Yeah.
world is yours. Go find it. You know, it's all there waiting for you.
Don't let somebody diminish your nerd status. That's all I'm saying. We're all here for the love of it, and there can never be too much of something, because you adding what you want to do, it makes it even more beautiful. That's all.
Absolutely.
I get very defensive when people try to tell you that you can't be a nerd of something or that you can't do something. We do not believe in that at all. You absolutely can go and do something.
Exactly, and also
Yeah.
like videos like you guys do and other people do are educational, like the Resurrection Mary thing, you know? And so maybe you might not be in somebody's algorithm, but someone else who does it would be, right? So now they still get to know. Maybe it might not be from you guys, but they'll still get to learn about it, right? So you never know. And I was talking to you earlier about when you first started this channel and how it evolved. And can you share that story with us? Because I thought it was really awesome and inspirational.
This is a long one. This is a long one. I don't think you were there when we started talking about this. So,
I joined midway, so it started out as his baby.
I take the long way around every time I tell a story. It's like I start here, but the story's way over there. So if you were to open up YouTube and go to the info tab, it says that Grimm Life Collective was started in 2011. Everybody starts a YouTube channel so they can watch stuff. Originally, YouTube was a website because I always wanted to be a writer when I grew up, and I was like, I don't want to write for these magazines, and I want to do my own spooky stuff. So I created Grimm Life Collective and started visiting places, taking pictures, and writing about my adventures. Nobody read it. So I quickly realized that people don't want to read, instead they want to go and visit these places. So YouTube, making videos. Now, we were living in Florida, Orlando. It's hot, there's a lot of bugs, it's humid, theme parks. And this whole crazy thing with the world happened, COVID and lockdowns, and the world is crazy, and it's still crazy, it's always crazy. And we had some things happen with friends, and then we had a conversation, kind of paraphrasing here, that worst case scenario, if we were to die, do we want to die in Florida? Nothing against Florida.
Sorry if you live in Florida.
Yeah, right? But we didn't want to die in humidity and bugs and stuff, so where do we want to be? And so we decided, let's pack up everything, move across the country, and live in California. And it was the best decision we've ever made. But getting there was very, very tricky. So we were living in one room in your parents' house. We rented a cube, one of those cubes to move. We packed everything in there to the brim, like there's no room for an ant to breathe. And we ship it across country. We get there, we're staying at our friend John Massari's house, the guy who wrote the music to Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And we finally get an apartment, and we go to our cube to get all of our stuff. We open the door, and it all falls out, and it's all broken. Like every furniture that we've owned is broken. Which wasn't much, but it's all we had, and it was broken. So we had to get new stuff. Thank God for IKEA.
Yeah.
It was IKEA stuff that got broken,
Right?
just so you know.
And I was working as a manager at an AutoZone. So stressed out. Like every day I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. My stress levels were 500%. I would call her in the middle of my shift or come home almost in tears going, I don't know how I can do this. I'm losing my mind. Like, this is so stressful. 60-hour work week. And then on the weekends, packing 50, 60 hours worth of Grimm Life stuff in 2 days and becoming exhausted and then going back to work on Monday morning. It was this vicious cycle. And I went to work in AutoZone, broad daylight. Somebody cut the catalytic converter out of my car, and the insurance company totaled it. And it just got nasty. We just moved our entire family, us, across country, spent everything we had to get there, and now our car was taken away. And the job was just kind of going, it was bad. And I went home, and I said, now's the time. And she was very supportive, even though this was crazy. I walked into work the next day, handed my keys, and I said, usually I'm a 2-week person for, 2-week notice. But I quit right then and there, and I walked out. And I went and I made a video, and from that point on, it was like sink or swim. No matter what, we had to do this thing, and it's been 3 years. And in those 3 years, the channel has grown so much. And best decision, probably the worst decision at the time, but.
It was a little scary, but I think I kind of had faith. one of those decisions where you just gotta try it, because if you don't, you'll regret not having taken the chance while you felt you had a chance. And it was one of those things though where it's like, okay, we have to get into a brand new car. That one was already paid off and it got totaled, so that sucks. And now we're about to get into a car payment. And if the same thing happened again, we were going to be destroyed. If it got totaled again by someone stealing the catalytic, which was happening all over the country at the time, you just kind of went, okay, if I don't feel comfortable leaving our car where you work, maybe we shouldn't work there. And if we ended up not being successful in what we were trying to do, then we could just get another job kind of thing. You know, it was one of those things where we had saved up so much to move cross country that we had the ittiest bittiest little nest egg that we could probably get by on like a month, you know. And if we knew by the end of that month that we couldn't continue to do what we're doing financially, then okay, that's fine, you know, we'll do it the old way. But it kind of presented itself at a good time in our life, in the worst kind of way, that, you know what, let's just go for it. Put everything we have into it, put our heart into it, and see what happens. Ta-da, here we are.
Long story.
Long story.
No, I think it's a beautiful story and an inspirational story, because how many people out there feel like they're going to have a heart attack every time they go into work because there's so much stress? I'm one of them.
Not saying to go quit your jobs.
No,
Just
but,
because of stress, don't do
but
that.
following your passion
Yeah.
and finding a passion if you don't have one and you don't really know what you want to do, and it's never too late.
Right.
Finding your
Never
passion
too late.
and putting faith in yourself.
We get asked a lot too how we could afford to do these kind of adventures, and the truth is at first we both had jobs, and trying to line up days off together wasn't working, so we decided, okay, he made more than I did, so I'll quit my job so that we could keep the higher income job. That opened up us to have a bit more time. But when we were leaving to do these trips, we slept in our car. We would usually sleep in a Walmart parking lot, and it worked out because we would not eat on the road. We would get deli meat and bread, and I would make sandwiches in the car while we're driving with little plastic knives and forks. And we did everything we could to penny pinch and just tried to make that dollar spread as much as possible. And we packed, like you said, packed as many hours as we could into the road in a weekend time, or if we had a day off or two around the week, you know, how our schedules worked out. And just did that for the first, 5 years? For the first 5 years? Yes, for the first good 5 years, we often just slept in our car.
Wow. Yeah. And I'm also reminded of.
I'm not saying to do that, it is very rough.
Yeah.
But that is how we got
Especially
by.
in Florida.
Yeah. I'm reminded also of, you know, I can't remember, I think it was a documentary based on a chorus line. And one of the actors was like, who was up for the revival, was like, this has to work because I don't have a plan B, you know? And she put everything she had into this dream. And they say, like, if you have your plan B, you're going to fall back on your plan B because plan B is easy.
Yeah, plan B can sometimes be a scapegoat, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you try something, it could be just not the right moment. We met each other when I was 35, you know. Most people think if you're not married by 35, you're not going to get married. And we've been happily married for 6 years. You know, that's another story that I tell people is, you know, that's one of the struggles as just a human being is finding your human, you know, the person that you vibe with the most, and they're, bless their hearts, they're in their 20s saying, oh no, I'm so lonely and single, and I'm like, honey, you've got time. It's like, I met this beautiful human when I was 35, and I'm mad that it was at 35 because of all that wasted time, but it's not wasted time, that's experience, that's creating who you are as a person. And life will often find you when it's supposed to happen. And I honestly think if we had met each other before then, it wasn't the right time. Yeah. We would not have grown into who we are today, and especially who we needed to be at the time. So like, it can still happen. Anything can happen at any time.
Love it. It's beautiful. Do we have any audience questions? No one? Oh, yeah.
I'll come down there with a microphone.
Out of all your adventures that you've gone on, have you ever been to a place from the start it just didn't feel right, that you just said, no, this isn't, we can't do this, something's just not right, or did you push through it?
Very, very good question.
That is a very good question.
Yes, but we don't push through anything. We have a very strict rule that every video that you watch on the channel is our 100%. Every video that we put out to us is a $500 million Hollywood production, even if it's just $5. We put everything we have into that. If we go to a place and we're super excited about it and it is, we're just, no. We don't do it, we walk away, for whatever reason. And if you think about it, if you've been watching our channel for a while, that might start to click that not once do we ever have a video out that goes, this place sucks, don't go here, or don't do this. And it's not that like every video is positive and we're getting paid for it, because we don't. It's just we believe in it 100%. And there are places, there are YouTube content creators out there who, as soon as something happens, a tragedy in the news, they go there and they cover it. And to us, that just feels wrong. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. To us, the way that we view things, it is. A good example of, not that, but something else. Last Halloween season, our plan was to go and visit the filming locations to Beetlejuice. Who wouldn't want to visit that town, right? We spent so much money getting there. We got there, and it was December. The sun in December is just absolutely horrible to film in. And big fan of the movie, big fan. When we got there, we had this idea for this video, and it wasn't happening. It just didn't feel right.
That was so sad.
So we just walked away. Sometime down the road, we'll make it there again, and we'll do the video that we would want to see as fans, but it wasn't happening that day, so we just walked away.
And that's a bit of kind of the life lesson of choosing, I wouldn't say career, that doesn't feel like the right word, but choosing to do something like this is that you can't determine everything is going to be a specific condition when you arrive. We've been rained out of places, but the thing about filming in December is you talk about lighting and you think you can change that inside your camera or whatever, but you can't. The sun is so harsh that when you turn the camera on, it's either completely whited out, or it's completely black. If there's any sliver of a shadow, we just could, the contrast is so harsh. So sometimes you just gotta go plot twist and either make it work or just move on and keep that in the back of your head to come back to if you're traveling through that way again. So don't get discouraged if something doesn't go right the first time. You can still try to go with it, but if it doesn't end up working, just put that on the back burner or something you can go to in the future to try again. Because it's not gonna go away. Fingers crossed, because things do get demolished. Halloween 3. But that was an earthquake, but again, so don't get discouraged going to see some of these places. It's always gonna be there, bucket list it, and just come back around.
The earthquakes that have been happening in Northern California, before all the mudslides. Halloween 3, we did the filming locations for Halloween 3. I don't know if you've seen that. You probably have seen Halloween 3. The Silver Shamrock warehouse, it's pretty much all gone now. The earthquakes, 2 earthquakes, massive earthquakes have taken it out. I'm crazy. We got there to film this video, and in order to get on the inside where I was, I had to crawl on my hands and knees underneath the foundation. Only for like months later, when the earthquake hit, that was the part that collapsed, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
One thing we didn't point out, I don't think, when we did that video though, is you always want to make sure, not just with structures, that you're safe, is when we first got to do that video, I'm not in it because I have this great fear of wild dogs, And the second I stepped out of the car, we were surrounded by a pack of wild dogs. Michael is not afraid of them at all, so his
Birds are another story. Don't like birds.
But I immediately was terrified because with wild dogs, you don't know what's going to happen. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna slowly get back into the car. Nothing happened, thank God. But always please make sure that your environment is safe. Make sure you take precautions and things like that. I always feel like I'm putting out the disclaimers for all the visitations because I want you guys to go. That's one of the things that makes us so happy is when we come to see you guys and you tell us that, hey, I saw that video you did and I took my family there. That is the greatest compliment we can ever receive, is hearing that you guys get out of the house and go to some of these places, and because we really do feel that you guys are our family and we want to take you somewhere beautiful.
I saw
I get
another question
emotional,
out there
guys.
somewhere.
Red hat.
Yeah?
There's 2 red hats.
All right.
Hey, love you guys. I love the content you provide.
We love you too.
Out of all the locations, my personal favorite one is the Silent Hill one in Pennsylvania. I think it was Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. I had trouble sleeping just because of the whole eeriness, you know, the backstory where they filmed it. What are your 2 favorite locations? Arguably.
Man. Okay.
I'll let you go
We're
first.
near right now. You know, whatever.
I have to give a disclaimer every time I talk. I take the long story. I take the long road to get to the story. For me, it's always changing. Always changing. And for the longest time, the 2 that are probably the most heartfelt. Well, one that's the most heartfelt was the Buddy Holly crash site, the day the music died. I cried in that video. It hit me really hard. I think you felt the same, that it was pretty intense. The second one, most beautiful, was Pet Cemetery up in Maine. It's always changing. The video hasn't come out yet, but we spent 2 days here in Georgia filming the locations to The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. And in the video, I say if you pay attention to the movie, it's almost like they thought about it. Every time we point the camera at something, it's gotta be like unique or something like beautiful, right? It's a scary tale, and the movies are just beautiful. It took us from Sonoya all the way up to, I think I'm saying that, Sonoya? All the way up to Chatsworth, Georgia, like North Georgia. Cold, hiking in the woods to get to some places, and we got most of everything in the movie. And it was beautiful. It was breathtaking here in Georgia. And I'm not just saying that because we're in Georgia,
No, it wasn't
but it
stunning.
was breathtaking. And Talking Rock, people know what that is? Talking Rock Trail, or it's a town. We went there. There's a Carter's Dam, and at the very top of this mountain, there's this visitor center, and there's this really nice woman up there who we talked for about an hour about like the area, and it was just beautiful. That's my favorite one right now, and I haven't even started editing yet. Long
It was
story.
very picturesque. I was actually asked this question earlier, and sitting here, and I think it's because of the question that he had before. It takes me back to the one we just did for Selena.
San Antonio, yeah.
San Antonio. We put that one out just earlier this week, and Selena was one of the ones that, for me, I was surprised at my reaction to it. I knew that it was a sad story, but I think she died when I was like 13, and I just remember her being so beautiful and this pop idol, you know. And so I thought, oh yeah, we'll go and do, beautiful memory video for her. And I remember in the first video, it was very emotional. And for some reason, this second one was even more emotional. I caught myself a couple of times just almost, not depressed, but just so sad while filming it, because you kept forgetting and then remembering that she's gone. And it was just really, it hurt your heart. You know?
I think maybe a reason for that, the first time that we did the Selena video, it was more like a remembrance of her death, what happened. We didn't spend too much time covering her death, so to speak. We mentioned it at the beginning of the video. This time, I keep eating my hair. Everything that we did in that video, if you've seen it, it was beautiful. And it wasn't a grim video. We didn't mention her death once, I don't think.
I think I mentioned it because I was so sad that day. Because I get excited and like about her, and then I would get just really sad remembering that she was gone.
And I think that's probably why.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was for she filmed her music video there for No Me Queda Mas. Yeah. I had to think for a second because we got to some locations that hadn't been shown yet, and they were just so stunning. And then we watched the music video of her being stunning, and it was just like, oh yeah, I sure do miss her. Yeah.
All right. We have time for one more. Other red hat.
On the spot.
What is your name?
Billy.
Hi,
Billy.
And
Sorry, I called you
other
red hat.
Brian?
Brian.
And hello.
I wondered, do you ever worry about a spirit or a demon attaching itself to you? Some of these places y'all go where evil deeds.
Yes.
I got a crazy story for you. Again, it goes back to being in the right mindset, having the right mentality, having your heart and your mind in your spot. Is the couple that took my tour in Savannah, Georgia, in here? It's real house.
Yes.
Back there. So there's a couple here. Years ago, Jessica and I lived in Savannah, Georgia, and I was giving tours at a place called the Sorrel Weed House. It's listed as like one of the most haunted houses in the South.
If not the States.
We spent so much time in this house that things were happening. I don't care if you believe in ghosts or not. I always tell people, unless it happens to you, I don't expect you to believe. I don't care. It has to happen to you or you're not really a believer. Things happen inside that house that have messed us up. One night, I was giving a tour, and there was this Hispanic family. I don't remember where they were from, but it was a family. It was a big family, and their grandmother was on the tour. And you go inside the house, and we were talking about this, looking for some ghosts, talking about that, talking about the suicide, the death, and we went over to the carriage house, which was the slave quarters, and all this stuff. We're talking about that. At the end of the tour, I'm saying goodbye to everybody in the courtyard, and all of a sudden I hear this woman screaming and wailing, and her family's going crazy. I got goosebumps right now. She's punching the walls of the carriage house. Like her knuckles are getting bloody, and I'm like, what is going on? And she's speaking in Spanish. I didn't know what she was saying. She was just pounding away at and just screaming and crying. And her family said that there was something trying to attach itself to her, and she was trying to get rid of it. And I didn't know what the heck, it was freaking me out. That sticks with me. And that night, that woman, and every time we do a video, everywhere we go, whether it's a place that somebody died, a haunted place. We don't really go ghost hunting on our channel. We believe in ghosts 100%, but we don't go ghost hunting. We dabble in it, but we don't go ghost hunting. But we're always as respectful as we can be. And we try really hard not to say, well, this is what we think. This is our opinion on it. We try to let the location or the history speak for itself. It's not our story to tell, but we do our best in trying to tell it. And I think for that reason, again, a long way around, I'm personally not too concerned about things attaching themselves to me or bringing stuff home, is because the way that I'm viewing it. What about you?
I've never really said this before, but I kind of feel like I have taken something home unintentionally after visiting the Conjuring House. Is that why all of our
plants die?
No. We went to the real Conjuring House where the story actually took place with the family, and I've never really not believed that I could pick up an entity and take it home kind of thing. I just never really thought that I would experience something like that after hearing a lot of people tell stories about it, because I grew up in a house that was haunted. I had things happening every single day, and it became so common, you would just talk back to them as if it was natural, and nothing I think ever followed me through anywhere that I've ever gone. But I've had a strange feeling after going to the Conjuring house, and some things have happened in our house in LA while you were gone.
We're good then.
And sometimes I started getting a little paranoid because someone kept asking me if I felt strangely, saying that they thought that I had taken something home. So now I'm just being paranoid, maybe? I don't know. But I'm more of a scaredy cat than he is. Every time we do something like that, I'm always like I want to see it, but I don't want to see it because I think if I see it, I'll freak out. Yeah. Like I'm the screamer and the jumper at the haunted houses, and he's laughing, and you know the air machine kicks off, and I scream my head off, and yeah. So I don't know if there is, but just all of a sudden, living in LA, things have started animating that shouldn't be animating in my apartment, and I'm like, maybe people were right. I don't know.
It's all your fault.
It just happened the one time though.
Are you talking about the Haunted Mansion toy?
Yeah, we had this thing, you had to push it in order for it to make sound. And out of the blue, I'm in the other room doing laundry, and it would not stop going off. And it's never gone off. And I went to touch it to move it, and just touching the box made it go off. And you really have to activate this thing for it to make sound. And it only happened that one time. And I put it back, and I was like, mess with it a little bit, and I was like, okay, you're fine now, and that's great, but why it was going off that one day? And it has this set of 5 things it can say, but the one thing it chose to say was very ominous. And I was like, of all things that you would say going off on your own in the middle of the day for no damn reason, I was like, was that a message? Was that intentional? Oh,
what did it say?
I don't remember, it's one of these 5 things that goes off. It's from the Haunted Mansion, so it's something that you hear during the ride that just sounds like a threat. And I can't remember what the saying is, but I was like, that's very interesting that it would happen in that sequence of events. I'm not saying it didn't, or that it couldn't be something, but now I'm watching it now, right? Yeah. So
look what you done did.
I got a little nervous that I was home alone, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I made sure my doors were locked.
So you locked the spirit in?
Well, there was one time I freaked myself out in the middle of the night watching a TV show. I locked the bedroom door. He woke up and he was like, why is the door locked? And I was like, listen, all right, I would have turned the lights on too, but you were sleeping and I didn't want to disturb you or something.
She was watching American Horror Story Roanoke.
Oh my God.
And she got scared in the middle of the night. And like whenever you're running and it's dark out, and it's dark in the house, and you're running,
because it shouldn't have scared me at all, but something just happened and I don't know what it was. I'm just so embarrassed.
Well, that's awesome though. Okay, I'm gonna tell a story that'll help you feel better. Okay. It didn't happen to me because I don't think I was born yet. But my grandmother is the reason I love horror. I saw my first horror movie at her house, with all of her foster kids. We'd all rent movies every weekend, and I spent every weekend there. Anyway, long before I was born, she rented Alien and watched it alone and got scared and hid behind the couch and fell asleep. Grandpa comes home, can't find his wife, in the 70s, no cell phones, right? And starts to call the police, as far as what I've been told. And then she wakes up. So she hid behind the couch because she was so frightened and fell asleep.
That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. I don't feel bad at all.
So my point is, no shame. And she told the story with hilarity and pride too. So it wasn't like she was embarrassed. She was like, you know what? This was hilarious, and it happened.
I like to think I'm braver than I am. I think it's the case.
I think you are. Because
We
you do
are,
all
but
these things.
when it pertains to the supernatural, I get very nervous. He's always like, oh yeah, let's go do this thing where we get locked in, and I'm like, No, thank you.
I can't stop moving. I'm like constantly going, and it's like I want to experience it no matter what it is, and it's hard for me to say no. I'm like, yes, ma'am, like Jim Carrey.
I will have to run out of a room and like turn all the lights on. I'm that person that if I have to go down to the basement, I am running up the stairs and turning the light switch off at the very last second because I can feel the darkness on my heels. Yeah. And once I slam the door shut, I'm fine. But I'm one of those people, so like I get spooked a little easy.
Do you ever have fun with that, Mike? You don't spook her on purpose?
Never.
As he says with a smile.
I don't think you have.
Okay.
I said never. I was being truthful.
But you're like, never wink, wink.
But he does make me go first in haunted houses, which I know is all. That's just fun. But he just likes to see me scream and jump.
We have a man, my voice. We have a video coming out. The lights are on. We're in an escape room. We're having a story told to us. There's no scary music around. And an air thing goes off and she screams and jumps and she's across the room. So why would I not put her in front of a camera?
We were in the lobby. This place is amazing, and
It's Netherworld.
it's Netherworld, and they have a lobby. We're greeting the owner, who is a longtime friend of his because he used to be a scare actor at Netherworld. And I'm admiring everything they've done with the lobby because it's really nice and well done, and it's pretty, and it's got all these masks and statues and things like that. Things that you wouldn't expect to move, and they don't look like they're going to move. And they did move. I might have screamed a little.
She did. I got her on camera.
No, you didn't get that one on camera because we hadn't started filming yet. I probably jumped like 5 feet. No, that's all I'm saying. The receptionist is supposed to like, yeah, that's a good one.
Well, guys, it's time to let you go. I wish I could have you for a whole another hour because this has been so much fun. So please, everyone, give it up for Michael and Jessica.
Thank you.
I love you guys so much. You guys really are a family. We say that all the time, and I know it sounds cheesy, but you really are like a family to us, and we love you very much.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Okay, that would do it for our trip to Days of the Dead in Atlanta. We've had a great time down here. We've seen a lot of great vendors and great people. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. And we will see you next time. Oh, one more thing. So we got some stuff at the convention while we were here. Didn't really show it off in this video. I will make a video soon showing off and talking about each thing that we got here. All right. See everybody later.